Hello, everyone. Now, as you know, Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time. And one of the many reasons why is because these people really believe that analytics are reliable and that analytics are facts and that analytics are more reliable than statistics and that analytics are statistics. Now, I am going to explain to you why all this is ridiculous. Here are the reasons why, in no particular order. First, they are disrespecting all of the other NBA people. Next, they are dismissing all of the other NBA people. Next, when they claim to respect the game and then they disrespect the game, they are contradicting themselves. Next, when they claim to love the game and then they dismiss the game, they are contradicting themselves. Next, Michael Jordan fans have a history of always trying to find a way to make Michael Jordan the number one NBA player of all time. So that right there shows you that they're not reliable. Next, understand why Michael Jordan fans are saying this. It's because they're just trying to find a way to make Michael Jordan the number one NBA player of all time. So that right there shows you that they're not reliable. Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that lots of the players that Michael Jordan played with don't agree with them? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that lots of the players that Michael Jordan played against don't agree with them? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that lots of the owners, general managers, coaches, and other NBA people that Michael Jordan played for don't agree with them? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that lots of NBA Hall of Famers, lots of NBA legends, lots of NBA scouts, and lots of NBA experts don't agree with them? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that Michael Jordan doesn't agree with them? Next, since lots of these people don't agree with them, why do Michael Jordan fans sometimes reference one or more of these people for one or more topics? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that usually the only people who think this are Michael Jordan fans? Next, if this was the other way around and they were an NBA Hall of Famer or some other NBA person and they found out that there was a younger NBA fan who wasn't there when they played, who doesn't have that much tape of them, who isn't an expert on the past NBA and so on, and they found out that this younger NBA fan said this thing, they wouldn't agree with that fan. Next, if some non-Michael Jordan fan said this thing and it went against Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan fans wouldn't agree with that non-Michael Jordan fan. Next, Michael Jordan fans have a contradiction. They always ask people who disagree with them if they were there when Michael Jordan played, if they went to his games, if they saw his games live on TV, and so on. And yet, they don't ask themselves these same type of questions when it comes to lots of other NBA Hall of Famers. If they did, they would know that it would go against them, and they wouldn't come to this kind of conclusion. Next, how come Michael Jordan fans don't say this kind of thing for some other NBA players? Next, how come Michael Jordan fans don't say this kind of thing for some other players who played other sports? Next, how come Michael Jordan fans don't say this kind of thing for some other people and some other things when it comes to other things outside of sports? Next, how come Michael Jordan fans don't say this when it comes to who they rank as the number 2 NBA player of all time and the number 3 NBA player of all time and the number 4 NBA player of all time and so on? Next, how come Michael Jordan fans don't say this when it comes to who they rank as the number 1 player and the number 2 player and the number 3 player and so on when it comes to other sports? Next, how come Michael Jordan fans don't say this when it comes to the number 1 person or the number 1 thing or the number 2 person or the number 2 thing or the number 3 person or the number 3 thing and so on when it comes to other things outside of sports? Next, Michael Jordan fans are putting NBA players in a lose-lose situation. If an NBA player has good analytics, they dismiss it. If an NBA player does not have good analytics, they hold it against them. Next, a player can dominate this game, be above average, be average, or anything else no matter how their analytics are. Next, I want you to think about something logical. Is it logical to assume that analytics are reliable? Next, is it logical to assume that analytics are facts? Next, is it logical to assume that analytics are more reliable than statistics? Next, is it logical to assume that analytics are statistics? Next. They have been figuring things out in the NBA for a long time without analytics. They have been figuring out who is a good player, how good a player is, what team is good, how good a team is, what opponent is good, how good an opponent is, what coach is good, how good a coach is, what weakness a player has, what weakness a team has, what weakness an opponent has, what weakness a coach has, what player to draft. And there are more examples, but you get the point. They did all these things without analytics, so there is no reason to think that they need analytics. Next. Use some more common sense. If you have a star player or a star team or a star coach or any person that is on that level, you would not need analytics for any of those people. Next. Use some more common sense. What does a player do in a basketball game? He scores, he rebounds, he passes, and there are more examples, but you get the point. And you don't need analytics for any of these things. You can use statistics for all these things. Next. The NBA does not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. It is low on the list. Next. All the owners do not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. I doubt any of them use it at all. Next. All the general managers do not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. It is low on the list. Next. I doubt most of them use it at all. Next. All the coaches do not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. It is low on the list. Next. I'm guessing most of them hardly use it at all. Next. All the scouts do not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. It is low on the list. Next. I doubt most of them use it at all. Next. All the NBA Hall of Famers do not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. It is low on the list. Next. I doubt most of them use it at all. Next. All the NBA legends who are not NBA Hall of Famers do not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. It is low on the list. Next. I doubt most of them use it at all. Next. All the NBA players in the game do not use analytics as the number one thing. Next. It is low on the list. Next. I doubt most of them use it at all. Next. Jerry West is known as a guy that knows the game as good as anyone. He is a high IQ guy. He is a guy who is really good at judging talent. He is a guy who puts winning teams together. He is a guy with lots of experience. He is a guy who is known as one of the smartest guys in the NBA. He is a guy who is known as the smartest guy in the NBA. And he is a guy that the NBA calls sometimes for advice. And he does not go by analytics. Next. He questions analytics. Next. He does not like analytics. Next. And he thinks that the biggest change in the NBA that has been a negative thing is analytics. Next. Michael Jordan himself is not really into analytics. Next. Some NBA franchises just use analytics because they figure it doesn't hurt to have some analytics that are reliable. And they figure since everyone else is using them, they do not want to take the chance where they get hurt if they do not use them, and they do not want to take a chance that some player does not join them because they are not going by analytics, and they do not want to be known as a franchise that is stuck in the past. Next. The NBA uses analytics because it's a way to market things. It's a way for people to get more news stories. It's a way for people to get more interest, and it's a way to help Michael Jordan get ranked as the number one guy. Next. There is no evidence that any player, team, coach, or anyone in the NBA did better than everyone else because of analytics. Next. There is evidence of a player, team, coach, or anyone in the NBA doing better than everyone else without analytics. Next. There is evidence that a player, team, coach, or anyone in the NBA did not do better than everyone else because they used analytics. Next. If analytics are reliable, how come there is no player, team, coach, or anyone in the NBA that has done better than everyone else just because of analytics? Next. If analytics are reliable, how come no NBA team has ever won the NBA Finals just based on analytics? Next. How come no NBA team has won the NBA Finals by mostly using analytics? Next. If analytics are so reliable, why do people use statistics? Next. If they trust analytics more than statistics, and they still use statistics, they are contradicting themselves. Next. Michael Jordan fans do not even go by all the analytics. Next. They cherry pick the ones they want to go by. Next. And usually it's PER. They usually don't go by any other analytic. Next. The reason analytics was invented for the NBA is because either some people believe in their head that the analytics are reliable, or they just want to make money, or they just want the attention, or they just want to act like they have something that makes them feel like they are smarter than the people who do not go by analytics. Next. Analytics are a waste of time. You are wasting your time by going by analytics. Next. Analytics are over-analyzing. You are spending way too much time on things that you do not need to spend time on. Next. Analytics are misleading. They come to conclusions that are not reliable. Next. Analytics can actually make things worse for a player, a team, a coach, or someone else in the NBA. Next. Analytics are not statistics. Statistics are statistics. Next. Analytics are formulas, potions, predictions, magic. Next. There is no fact to prove that analytics are reliable. Next. There is no fact to prove that analytics are facts. Next. There is no fact to prove that analytics are more reliable than statistics. Next. There is no fact to prove that analytics are statistics. Hey, please subscribe, and if you disagree with me on something, you can go on my program and show me your facts on whatever you disagree on. If you want to go on, let's set it up. Send me an email. The email is right there in the description section. Thank you.